This is pretty exciting. I've been waiting for this package for I think 2 months now. Pretty crazy. This project is still in crowdfunding phase, so I understand why it may not always be in stock. This is what I'm talking about, the NocFree keyboard. They gave me a few options to customize, so I actually went with a rather weird spec. Under your hands. Oh, it must be one of the wrist rests, I think. That's cool. Oh, it's a wooden wrist rest. Of course, it's a 2-part wrist rest. I think you understand why it's 2-part. Yep, that's one smooth wood. That's what she said. Okay, let's see what this thing is all about. How do I even unbox this? Oh, okay. You can see the 2-part design language is pretty much everywhere in this package. There it is. The NocFree wireless split mechanical keyboard. That is light. And you may have noticed, what the hell are these keycaps? Yep, they are printed on this side. I thought it would be unique because I can still see the legends when I'm typing. This is a wireless keyboard, but we do get a cable as well, in case you want to use it wired. Although I'm not liking that it's this weird, I guess, what even is this? It is USB, but I don't know the name of this thing. Man, I don't like that. I want things to be USB-C, because if I lose this cable, what then? Come on, NocFree. This should have been Type-C. We have seen a similar split mechanical keyboard before. I think it was the Philco Magistouch Zarco, but that was an exclusively wired keyboard. It's good that this thing is wireless. What else do we have? Additional keycaps, I guess. Yep, and some of these keycaps are completely blank, as you can see, no legends whatsoever. Maybe you can go for an even more minimal look by replacing your caps lock or some other key like this. Thankfully, you also get a regular Type-C cable to charge this thing. That's good. And in this pouch we have... Oh, is that a carrying pouch? Yes, it is. It's a carrying pouch for the 2 halves, I guess. Anyway, let's get to the actual thing itself. Again, like most ergonomic keyboards, this thing has a riser in the middle, so it kind of forms a tent like this. There is an on-off button here, and the receiver should be... Oh, here it is. Okay, I'm just gonna plug it into my PC and power on. Oh wow, typing this from the top-down view is pretty disorienting. Like, you don't see any legends, right? It seems weird. But obviously when you're sitting down, the view is perfectly fine. You kind of look at it like this. See? Not so weird anymore. And ooh, the keys are nice. As usual, I went for a linear switch version because I'm a linear bitch. You can keep them joined like this if you wish, or you can keep them as separate as you want in any orientation you like, and these 2 sides will be connected to each other and your system too. Pretty cool, isn't it?
2 hours later.
Okay, I've been using this thing for a while and, well, I have some thoughts. Let's start with the good stuff. The typing experience is amazing. The keys are super smooth and they're pretty silent too. This has to be the quietest mechanical keyboard I've ever used. To use it in wireless mode, you have to flick these switches on both of them like this. And that's it, immediately it'll start working. This thing does have RGB, but weirdly it has to be connected, like it has to be wired for the lights to work. That kind of sucks because you can't use RGB in a wireless mode. And this is how you connect, by the way. You first connect these 2 together with the mini USB port and then plug in the Type-C. But you can see as soon as I plug it in, the charging LEDs turn on either side. Oh, and yeah, I have to manually disable the wired mode on either of them. It doesn't automatically take wired. Now that we are in wired mode, I can turn on the RGB and yeah, it looks really good. I can change the pattern and stuff, you can see that. And I'm assuming they need wires because they need to synchronize the 2 halves, right? And all the RGB controls are on this side, so if I disconnect this, it just goes off. Boom, as you can see, it's dead. Now, while I understand the need for having wires so we can synchronize the 2 wireless halves, why couldn't we have like a static light when it's in wireless mode? Like, I'm not even saying have a moving color, just a static light like this. Because right now in wireless mode, even though the keyboard is completely functional, there is no light whatsoever, no backlight. We have LEDs and a battery inside, but there is no way to turn it on. So NocFree, I would like to see a basic white backlight in wireless mode, and wired mode can have the full-on RGB like this. I think that's a reasonable thing to do. Because I like RGB, but I don't like using it like this. Even though it is a lot more flexible than most other keyboards, we still have this thing dangling in the middle. And I wish the wireless switch was right up here so we can easily switch between modes, wired and wireless, instead of having it on the back. Sort of like this. This is wired, that's Bluetooth, that's 2.4G. It's much easier than reaching the back. And even though I like these wooden pieces as wrist rests, they are still 2 individual pieces, right? They have to be like individually arranged every time you move your keyboards. Instead, if there was like a metal strip or something here and 2 tiny magnets over here, so they could just magnetically attached like that, so they could stay together at least. I think that'll make a lot more sense and make it easier to maintain. And when you want to remove it, you could just pick it up like that and be done with it. These are very comfortable, so I want to have them on. I just don't want them to be loose like this. And one more thing I didn't like is the key combination to switch between devices. I mean, look at this. To switch to channel 1, you have to have tab 1 and then /0. To switch to device 2, you have to press tab 2 and /-. Like, why? Why couldn't it be simple? Like, for example, if I want to switch between multiple Bluetooth devices, I'll just press function 1. That's the first device. Function 2 is for second device. And function 3 is for third device. Simple, right? It does have a similar function key. Maybe it could have been something similar like that instead of 2 individual key combinations. The whole point of having multi-device switch is that you could easily switch between devices. It should be easy and seamless. So NocFree, if you could, rearrange that a little bit, that would be cool. So yeah, wireless usage would mean no backlight. And you have to flip these switches each time. Not the most seamless experience, but okay. These are 2 individual devices with individual batteries after all, so I guess it makes sense. Let's take a listen to a sound test. So then what's the final verdict here? Well, I think this is a solid first product from a crowdfunding project. Talking about the positives, it feels great to type on, and of course it's very ergonomic. It's one of the first wireless split mechanical keyboards I've tested, which means you can use them in a variety of ways, which simply cannot be done with regular keyboards. Aside from the minor conveniences that I mentioned, like the magnetic wrist rest and all that, the biggest downside in my opinion is the lack of backlight, especially in the wireless mode. If they could figure out a way to have at least a mild white light as a backlight, that would be great, even if it is not a full-on RGB. I understand that having 2 separate halves makes things a lot more complicated, but some backlight would be better than nothing. Aside from that, it's all positives. The keycaps are customizable, as you can see, the switches are hot swappable, and this version even has acoustic foam, which makes it even quieter when typing. All in all, pretty good job NocFree. Just improve those minor things and you'll have a banger product. I don't know the exact price of this thing. I think it was somewhere around $250 USD, so you can check that out from the link in the description. And let me know what you think about these split keyboard designs. Have you used one at all?